Josh Kelly, welterweight, currently 6-0, fighting for the Commonwealth title. Follow sport icons.
Now, ever since the Copperbox show a weekend or so ago, there's been quite a bit of talk around Josh Kelly and Conor Benn. Now, straight off the bat, it's not a fight I ever thought about seeing, to be honest. It never occurred to me about this. Whenever I thought about Josh Kelly, listen, I am favourable towards Josh Kelly. He is from my region here in the northeast and that. And of course, I've spoke to him a couple of times. But I feel that between him and Conor Benn, he will be the one that goes on and makes a splash in the boxing world. But equally, I am a huge fan of Conor Benn, so I don't want anybody to get twisted. I just feel at this stage of their careers, Josh Kelly is looking the more promising one. Now, amateur, Josh Kelly has far more experience as an amateur. As a pro, Conor Benn has more experience. Conor Benn has 13 fights. Josh Kelly has 8, but Josh Kelly is the Commonwealth welterweight champion. Conor Benn hasn't even got a Southern Area title, unless I'm mistaken. But if you put these two in the ring right now, I can only see it going one way, and I don't want to see an absolute beatdown on Conor Benn, because I don't think Conor Benn can handle Josh Kelly. And I know that's not going to go down well with some people, but listen, it's just my opinion, but I feel that Conor Benn, he's been struggling against opponents that you wouldn't have thought that he would struggle against. Cedric Peynaud, of course, he's had 2 fights for him. First time, some people say that Cedric Peynaud won that fight, because he did floor Conor Benn on a couple of occasions in that, and he looked terrible in that. He did get a rematch, and he beat Cedric Peynaud without any kind of real issues, in my opinion. But ultimately, when you're struggling, and it's not just against Cedric Peynaud, but a couple of fights, he's looked very, very vulnerable. And I like Conor Benn, and the last thing in the world I want to see is for him to get absolutely pummeled at this stage of his career. Listen, he's there, and he's been given a bit of limelight from Matchroom and Eddie Hearn because he's Nigel Benn's son. That's the reality of it, okay? And I don't want to see people being put into fights where you pretty much know the outcome of it. And I feel that Josh Kelly would breeze him. As I said, when you look at these two, now for me, I would love for both these two to go on and become world champions and represent the UK. Not just these, of course, plenty of British fighters and many other fighters, of course, outside the UK. But I do feel that Josh Kelly could well be the current prospect right now that could achieve big things in boxing. He's got a fantastic trainer in Adam Booth, and that, of course, as well. As Conor Benn does, being trained at the Matchroom gym with Sims and that. And I feel that Conor Benn could go on. He's got the heart of his father. He's got the heart of a warrior. And he will fight anybody, okay? And, you know, if you put a cruiserweight in front of him, Conor Benn will say, okay, fine, let's have a fight. And I get that, but I think he needs saving from himself. So Conor Benn saying how he wants Josh Kelly now, that's, in my mind, suicidal. But it'll be a great learning fight for him, and I know that he does spar the likes of Joe Cordina, Ted Cheeseman, and John Doherty, and others, of course, Ricky Burns and that as well. So he does get the experience, he does get the rounds, he does get the kind of sparring that he requires. But I do feel that on the big stage, Josh Kelly would be too much for him. That's my honest opinion, and I wouldn't want to see it. Equally, when you look at the rankings for welterweight, you've got Conor Benn ranked at number 6 by the WBA. You've got Josh Kelly ranked number 7 at the WBA. So the WBA are saying that Conor Benn is, what, better than Josh Kelly? That can't be right. I'm sorry, but it cannot be right. But, I mean, for me, it's a complete waste of a ranking. In my honest opinion, it's a complete waste of a ranking. So he's got some WBA international title or something, but he hasn't even been Commonwealth champion. He hasn't been British champion or anything like that yet. So why is he even ranked number 6 in the world by the WBA? Look at the champions, Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao. These two have a voluntary defence. They could well offer Conor Benn that shot. He's eligible to have a fight with either Keith Thurman or Manny Pacquiao. Would you give him any kind of chance against those two? Would you give Conor Benn any kind of chance against any of the top 15? Personally, I wouldn't. But yeah, if you look at Josh Kelly, while I don't know if he'd beat the likes of Broner, I don't know if he'd beat the likes of Jesse Vargas or Thurman or Pacquiao and whatever, but I feel he'd give it a good go. I feel he could at least hang in there with them. With Conor Benn, I think he'll get annihilated at this stage. In a couple of years' time, hopefully a totally different story. But as of right now, it's a complete waste of a ranking. Why do they put him in at number 6? I don't understand. Is Eddie Hearn been throwing some envelopes? I don't understand what that is. Why? It's a complete waste of a ranking. It's like Anthony Yard being ranked number 1 by the WBO. Why? He's not going to fight any champion anytime soon, is he? If he did, I think he'd probably get pummeled because he hasn't been moving at the right kind of pace. He hasn't been stepping up. He hasn't even become British champion, much like Conor Benn. At least with Josh Kelly, he has fought for a Commonwealth title and he's currently the Commonwealth welterweight champion. So he is moving at the right kind of pace. So as much as Conor Benn may want this fight, as much as Josh Kelly may want this fight, I would probably have to at least encourage anybody around Conor Benn to say, like, hey, listen, hold your horses. Okay, I know you feel that you're huge and you want to be world champion and you want to prove yourself, but ultimately there's a thing of thinking it, there's another thing of doing it. If you're struggling against some of the fighters that you have had, it's not really a good look. But listen, if these two want to fight, who am I to stop them, right? Who am I to even advise them not to fight? But ultimately, I do feel though that this will be suicide for Conor Benn. I think that Josh Kelly would annihilate him. To be brutally honest, I think he'll absolutely annihilate him. Josh Kelly has fought better opposition, and Josh Kelly has never one time looked like he struggled. At one time. He's even beaten a former world champion. Has Conor Benn? No. Conor Benn hasn't... Has he even fought for a 7 area? I don't think so. So, again, it's a complete waste of a ranking with the WBA, and him talking about Josh Kelly. Listen, if he wants to get punched in, crack on. But for me personally, I want to see him progress. I want to see Conor Benn become a world champion at some point. What I don't want to see is him getting derailed because his ego is getting away of the reality. I feel that Josh Kelly is way too good. I think Josh Kelly can hang in with those in the top 15. I don't feel Conor Benn can hang with anybody in the top 15. Granted, I don't know everybody in the top 15, so maybe there's a name or two there that he can. But for me, I feel that Josh Kelly is one of the future stars to come out of the United Kingdom. Conor Benn, we don't know yet. Hopefully he will, hopefully. But put Conor Benn in with Josh Kelly right now, that's a no-no. And I mean, Conor Benn, he needs to have his team and that around him and his dad say, listen, I know you want the fight and I know you believe in yourself and we believe in you too, but ultimately right now, it's the wrong move. I'd love to see Josh Kelly versus like a Conor Benn at some point, but right now, there's only going to be one winner and it'll be a destruction, in my opinion. I think Josh Kelly is way too good. Anyway, I mean, that's my thoughts. I mean, maybe you guys think totally different. I don't know, but either way, drop your thoughts below. Click the thumbs up to this video and, of course, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.